Testing, testing, one, two, testing, testing, one, two, testing. Testing, one, two, testing, testing, one, two, testing, 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 one, two, testing. Oh, yes, testing, one, two, testing, testing, one, two, testing. Very, very pleasant good evening to you as we were listening to the live music going now on the GMS Live Radio Guyana. Very pleasant good evening. Good evening to all those who are now joining. Sorry for the late start, but I want to indicate to you tonight, to those who are now joining, share the live stream, share the live stream, share the live. Come on, share the live to your friends. You know they can block me. So share the live. Let them know that Dr. Matthews is in the house. I don't see that the notification is up tonight. Last night the notification was up, and a lot of people were in last night, but tonight I don't see the notification is up. So you don't know Facebooking and make sure that the notification go out there. They can do it like every other night. Sometimes they might do it once a week or twice a week, you know, and that's it. So share the live. Let them know that Dr. Matthews is in the house. Share the live. Good night. Good evening to those who are now joining. A very pleasant good night and good evening. Welcome to those who are joining from the GMS Live Radio Guyana. Call a friend, tell a friend, hey, turn on your app. Gavin Matthews is live on the application GMS Live Radio Guyana so we can listen to him. You understand? So let them know. Good evening to those who are now joining the live stream. Share the live as you now come in. Share the live. A very pleasant good evening to all those who are now joining. Share the live on this, the GMS Live Voice of Democracy. Very pleasant good evening. Good evening to one and all. And I want to appreciate those who are now joining. So let them know that you can share the live. So here what we'll do tonight. Before I go on, I must say black love to you all. Black love is a brand that is designed by Gavin Matthews and owned by Gavin Matthews, patented by Gavin Matthews to to be put on products like clothing, utensils, things that you will use. The brand can be put on those products so you can support the Gavin Matthews live voice of democracy, the movement. So especially it is there to the strengthening of the show and the movement so we can have a representative, we the Aboriginal people and all people of Guyana. But you know, I normally concentrate on those who are being oppressed, people like me. You understand? So don't get me wrong. This is who I am. I can't run away from it. So a very pleasant good evening to you all. And it is also sponsored by the Event Management Services and Greenleaf Distributors. A very pleasant good evening to you all. And I appreciate those who are now joining to indicate to them, share the live. The notification is on up tonight, so people can be notified that Gavin Matthews is on live. Facebook hasn't sent that notification out as yet. And I figured out that won't be happening for tonight. So share the live. Let people know that I'm on the air. Dr. Matthews is on the air, and we will get to it as we stand. So, welcome to those who are now joining from Guyana to the Caribbean and around the world. This is Dr. Matthews live on the GMS Live Voice of Democracy stream, live streaming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and also on the GMS Live Radio Guyana, an application that can be found in the Play Store. So you can listen to that online radio as I am now broadcasting on. A very pleasant good evening to you once again. And here we go. Tonight is a special night because why it's a special night? Because tonight is State of Affairs in Guyana Part 2 of Part 1 last night. This morning, before I slept last night, I didn't get any calls, but this morning my phone started ringing like 4:30 this morning, way into 1 o'clock this afternoon. One thing is on everybody's mind. Mr. Matthews, why would you why I gotta laugh. Allow me to laugh first before I start because it's a funny thing. 90% of the persons that called wanted to find out why did I pace up Mr. Granger like I did last night. And they were shocked. Some of them didn't expect me to do so. So I want to give those persons because most of them would have called last night, would call this morning, not only either shocked, but some of them were a little bit displeased. So I want to give you the opportunity so you can call in tonight. Tonight is basically your time to call in to stress upon the topic of interest. That was the talk today, and I was surprised that it had some furtherance in the news media today. It tells you that they're listening to Gavin Matthews. Yes, it had some not, I can't say repercussion. It had some references in the media today. I don't know something, but some letter was sent and it was the wrong signature and all sorts of things. But there's a matter of confusion, a particular matter of last night's program. But don't forget, as I am now live streaming, share the live. It's a call-in program tonight. Let's have that conversation. I want to do two things tonight. You call, I listen. Ask me a question, and I can refer to your question. But remember, I don't want you to come off the air while I'm referring you to your question, because I will have a question that I want to ask you tonight. Because I don't want to seem that I am picking on someone. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm telling you as it is. If you're doing something that may affect people, I will highlight it. And before I go on, I must let people know I am not a card bearing member of the APNU AFC, nor a card bearing member of the PNC. I just voted for them. That's all. I am not a politician. I'm a civil rights activist and a human rights activist. That's what I do. Activism. Then of lately, I added on something more, being a revolutionist, sorry, because I will revolt against any system that suppresses and depresses a population. I will revolt against it. There ain't got no ifs or buts. I'm making it clear. Full revolutionary style. So y'all ain't got to sit down and think into your epiphany that, oh, I think this is what Gavin Matthews is saying. No, 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 I talking it plain now on the air. If I'm very much clearly, I'm speaking a little Creolese with a little direct English. So I make no qualms about what I do. And yes, to the brother who called early today, I represent people of Aboriginal descent. You see my skin color? Those are the people I'm talking about. So whether you're Madras, whether you're Aboriginal, whether you mix up use them dark skinned juggler, as long as you look like me and the system is so designed to oppress you, that is who I am. I'm here to stand against the oppression. That is why the brand Black Love. Black is an adjective. I want those who are listening. It's a representation of a color. I am not black. I am Aboriginal. They got some people darker than me, but they ain't black. The purple, if you understand what I mean. So I got a little fine musing today, and I appreciate it. At least they can't say that I never answer my phone. I never give them an ear to speak. Some of them are still displeased. So I let them know I'm going to have tonight a special night where you can call in and venge that feeling. And don't forget, I must be able to respond to you. Okay? So make sure that you're calling equipped. And to the PPP supporters, the PPTP, the People's Progressive Terrorist Party supporters. Don't feel that what I did last night is to let you feel that they're jumping on the bandwagon, they're on the PPP side. Oh no, I will never do that. I will never give up my own to join with you. And when I mean my own, I would never, because the People's Progressive Terrorist Party is a regime of terror and terrorists. Make sure that I pronounce the word properly. The People's Progressive Terrorist Party is a regime of terror and terrorists that governs that regime. Bunch of them, all of them, bunch of terrorists. That's who they are. So, I am making it clear and open tonight so you can call in. You can vent your feelings about last night. I don't mind. This is what Gavin Matthews Show is all about. It's to have a platform where people can call. Don't call me after the show. Oh, call me now so people can hear what is on your mind. You understand? Yes, to my friend, I sharing licks tonight. But let's have this discussion. Let's have this discourse. Man, that is why you call me when I got this show running. So we can have this discourse. This is a place where the ordinary man can call in and find out information. But one information I must have to talk about tonight. An individual called me today, not only to vent his feeling, to give me some information. You understand? So I kind of put one and one together to make it two. Because the information that he gave to me, if it's correct, well then, if it's correct, well then it's another different story. Hold on. First call. Very pleasant good night To you. You're on to the GMS Live Voice of Democracy and the GMS Live Radio Guyana. Can you speak up a bit? You got to speak up because I ain't hearing you. You got to put the instrument close to your mouth.
A very good evening to you and your listeners.
Good evening to you.
Yes. I just know I noticed that you mentioned that people, persons would have called you and I don't know if that offended what you said last night. Is that a case?
Yes, but I want you to speak up because here why. I am not getting you clear, and my microphone, digital microphone, is not picking you up in the red either, and I doubt whether people hear you.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm thinking very loud. But what I'm saying is
Uh,
I just the program. I want to see the person I'm not with you speaking about Mr. Grindle and his position in some of the party.
yes, yes.
And that and that wanted to ridiculous his position of the list.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, if tomorrow is Wednesday, they got to argue about Wednesday. And if you have time up, you gotta go. It's
Okay.
simple as that.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you're doing that, even though you may not like Mr. Norton, I'm just assuming that you may not like him. The man has won convincingly.
Hmm.
You understand? So it shows now that the people want him. So whoever was there before, gotta step aside. Walk
Okay.
away, that's it. Hand over the instrument and move on.
Okay.
Let you like it or not, it wasn't your decision. It was the people's decision that chose Mr. Norton.
Okay.
And Mr. Norton won by 5 or 6 votes. He won by plenty votes. You understand me?
Hmm.
So if more citizens feel that you attack Mr. Granger last night or one of the case maybe, I
Uh-huh.
mean, come on, Mr. Granger should have stepped aside long now, and this process what is happening now should have finished already. And we should have kindly attacked to this de facto government.
Hmm.
Since Mr. Martin had won the leadership of the PNCR, Mr. Granger should embrace him. I said, look, it's your turn now, even though I might not like you, different of the case maybe, we put aside the difference, and we put in the party first and our supporters.
Okay.
So all over it, just give it.
All
But
right.
like I
Good.
said,
Thank you very much.
that's it.
Uh,
Exactly.
so there we go. We had our first caller for tonight. And I hope those who were listening did get to hear him. I know he spoke a little loud, a little low. I don't know if it's his instrument, but he basically covered most of the issue. One of them I want to cover tonight. Someone called me to tell me that the reason why Mr. Granger can't step down, it is because Kemraj Ramjatan is the second in charge of the list. And automatically the post would be handed over to him. My lord, my lord, my lord. Mm. I've got to breathe. I really do have to breathe. Now, hear this part here, and I want you to get it correct. To all those who are looking, you can remember Sam Himes. To those who are looking, when Chedi Bar Jagan had died, Sam Himes, who was then prime minister, became president automatically. He became president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. because the Constitution says the next in line would become president. So what he did, he stayed on until elections. Then Mrs. Jagan, I mean regional general elections, then Mrs. Jagan became president. Subsequently, here, let's talk this part first before you are calling. Subsequently, right? Subsequently, according to the Caribbean community, the Hordminstone Accord, that she had to step aside and allow a president, the next person to become president because of her disrespect to the Constitution. So they already chosen Barrett Jack Dio, who was then the junior, I think he was the junior finance minister. Remember, after her is Sam. So if she had to resign, Sam would have become president. So what happened, if you're aware, you'll understand me. What happened? She resigned the post as president, swearing Sam Hines as acting president. Sam swearing Bar Jack Dio as prime minister. In one day, all that happened. And I think 72 hours after, Sam stepped down or stepped aside as president, swearing Barrett Jack Dio as acting president. Then he became full president, and then he swore in Sam Hines as prime minister. Y'all understand the cocoa price there? All right, good. Fast forward now to this little dilemma that's going on. They say the big man is the chair for the list, and after the chair is the deputy chair, which is Kemraj Ramjatan. But here was the problem. Here was the problem. Even if Kemraj is the second in charge, he still cannot be the head of the list because the Constitution says the party with the most candidates or most parliamentary seats, their leader becomes the head of the list. If Granger resign, the APNU is not even the head of that list. The PNC, the leader of the People's National Congress Reform, becomes the chairperson of that list, head of the list. Not the AFC, not the APNU, the PNC leader becomes the chairperson, the head of that list. He or she also becomes the leader of the APNU AFC. So whether they're in opposition, the person becomes opposition leader. Whether they're in government, the person becomes president. Y'all understand me? So that's what I want to get clear. Kemraj can be second in charge. Yes, no problem. But he can't be the head of the list because he's not the leader of the party with the most parliamentary seats or the most candidates available. So if y'all understand If y'all understand what I'm saying, when you're calling tonight, oh, I beg you, don't tell me nonsense because I am going to correct you. I want when you call in, don't be a part of the problem, be a solution to the problem. You can vent your feelings, no problem. You can ask the question, no problem. If you have something to add, allow it to be the solution to the problem. Because that's what we want here. We want people to add to whatever going on, the solutions or their scenarios that become a solution. So we can better understand what is going on. So basically, oh, the man still got resign. Basically, what are you still doing there? You're not you. The man can't be the presidential candidate for the next election because the law says he has to be the leader of the People's National Congress reform to be the presidential candidate for the next election. So he still can't resign. It's simple. You write a letter to the body addressing the Constitution and the body, and you indicate to them your willingness to resign the position as chair of the list to be replaced by the leader, because at the end of the day, he's not representing the PNC. He's not the leader of the PNC. He's not the executive of the PNC. So at the end of the day, I don't know what he's doing there. If y'all get my point. If you ask me about my delusions about the whole scenario, you won't like it. So y'all get the story. Nobody will show up today in Facebook, two letters written. One seems to have an original signature and another one don't seems to have. I mean, are you serious? Man, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. Oh my gosh. Bye. By the way, though, let me call back the individual that was calling just now so he can better have his opportunity to express himself. Tonight is y'all night. I want y'all express yourself. Meanwhile, y'all do not but call in, express yourself. Yes, this is the GMS Live Voice of Democracy calling you back. Dr. Matthews. Uh, you're live on air. So, yes, just hold a minute for me, please.
AFC first.
Yes, go ahead.
AFC right now don't have no power. AFC just holding on the on on the bandwagon for the for PNC because they have a mess to clean up, and because of that mess, that one of them MP caused black people to suffer today. One vote yes. So AFC, black people should not even follow AFC. Why? Let's talk politics. So what I say that when Ramzatan approached me to be MP, he told Ramzatan, look, I cannot accept that job because I have a Canadian citizen. Ramzatan said plain, don't worry that both sides have people that have other country citizenship and sits in parliament. So Ramzatan is to blame with that part because he know the constitution. He's a lawyer. He should have never let that or answer that man and say, yes, and he failed. Guyanese people give him a chance to fail, and he did fail. So people always talk about him, but in fairness, white people always base Norton. I'm always said Norton did not put Guyanese people in this mess today. We have to start from number one. Desmond Prasad, Carbon, and Granger. Let Norton have a chance now. Let me give him a chance to fail. Then we could talk about Norton tomorrow. Because it is what that man did, Granger did. He swore and said he would protect the Guyanese people, protect the constitution, protect the law and the country. And what he did, he go and make that wicked lady from Barbados come and kiss him and tell him, get the wicked police, people punishment party, and we count. That you will never give a black man, but no we count, no way. Going to be had a chance. Are you still there? Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, Green have a chance to clean that list, and it did not. The Susan said, if the government cannot keep election, I believe in 90 days or 6 months, those have to go back to Parliament and give a extension that you separate in not going back. He separate in not going back and give no life to the coalition party and all them stay out of Parliament. No, common sense. You don't have to go to college to get your voice for on this. Okay. See that April, the list supposed to change. I did not, I will hold election next 2 more years. Nobody can say anything because that they refuse to go back in Parliament to give if we have to give an extension because the list is bloated and I have a chance. But what's going to do?
Hold on. We ain't talking about the electoral list, you know. We're talking about the list of names that Grange is in charge of.
I know.
So we going back till there.
But I'm only saying people. I'm saying people say that's why we talk about we have to talk about the wrong things. Going to it. We will always talk about the wrong thing because we feel it's nonsense.
Well, we got another minute, so we can take a minute. We can take a minute to wrap up. Got another minute. Go ahead.
Okay. I saw on the news today that a school in Georgetown and a principal over here, but okay, the headmistress get all the kids that line up, little kids, and say use a word offense me. Because the people be targeting out little kids with a nonsense word. Oh, we have a visitor come and they bring presents for you because they care. That is nonsense words they talk in the care. And most of them children, parents, they not get them $25,000 yet. The government swap them out of the field, shoot them the children, parents. That is giving. Why these black people them allow chat you them for use them? Now guide them little kids tell them they care. The government is care for black people.
Okay. Well,
thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Stay safe and be careful. I got a next call coming in. Right. Thank you very much. Hold on. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling the GMS Live Voice of Democracy. Or the person hung up. All right. Well, you can still call back because I doubt whether you know that you can call back. I was answering you just now. But I want to answer a particular question that is on the comment tonight. It says, from what I understand, Gavin, as the two leaders of the party, Granger is a leader and Ramjitan is a deputy leader of the list. But I think according to the constitution, governing the elections. Mr. Granger have to remain the leader of the list until fresh elections. Correct me if I am wrong. Okay, let me answer this call first and I can talk about that. A pleasant good evening to you. Thank you very much for calling the GMS Live Voice of Democracy and the GMS Live Radio Guyana. Go ahead.
A blessed good evening to you, Mr. Matthews.
Good evening to you.
It's been a while since I haven't made my contribution on your program. However, let me be quick. One of the things that is very concerning, and it should be of from the aspects of the opposition point point of view, up to up to this day rather, we cannot understand, or I should say, I cannot understand, and many people will tend to be with this. Why is it that Mr. Norton is getting all of this pressure and all these problems to assert himself firmly in the party so as to lead the people in the wilderness out of this dark age? It means from the perspective of how things are looking is that many people would tend to believe that the PVP has a foothold in that party from the perspective of the AFCD uh, party. Why I say so, why I'm saying this is because the last caller that you just called have pointed out clearly that it's showing clearly, Mr. Matthews, that there's some leakage in terms of not having the party on a solid footing or grounding to represent at least the opposite from the opposition side. It is time this mad stop. I know Granger and Harmon and all of them, they all have to be blamed for this because it is so long Mr. Norton was campaigning for that position, and over the years he was fight down. Now he is given a chance by way of election. Everybody elected him. He won the election overwhelmingly. Why is it still that there's a problem to assort Mr. Norton into position and let him rule that party or govern that party with his colleagues so that we take us out of this madness? It is clearly showing that those who were in office before Mr. Norton had some sort of collusion with the PPP so as not to assert Mr. Norton's into position. It is frustrating, and this Guyanese should look at this. This is a total leak. When I say leak, a leak in the defense mechanism of the PNC party and the coalition. The PVP has a foothold somewhere along the line, and that's to show that it is a bridge in that party. People need to be awakened by this kind of madness and voice their concerns and come out and protest on something because this is becoming a laughing stock to the PPP. We need to come together and make sure that Guyanese need a better life and handle the situation in the best interest of the people of this country. We need a vibrant leader now. We get one, give him the support. Why is it that the old folks in the party, for some reason by law or some nature, is trying to hold this man back, Mr. Norton, back from leading this country out of this madness? Mr. Matthews, I know I said enough. I know a lot of people want to call in. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks, for having me. And God bless you and the family. And, keep up the good work.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling too. Stay safe and be careful. I think before you leave, I think you took some words that I wanted to expound upon, but I'm still going to do it. But well said, well done, and contributed to the contribution you give tonight. It's a solution by what you said, and it's well said, by supporting what the people need, a new leader. And that's what I'm about to talk about too. Okay? So, so stay safe and be careful. Yes, you too. Good night. What that caller said was directly what I wanted to expound upon. Because To answer the question of this young lady, no, to this sorry, to this person who posted in the comment, it says Granger, Mr. Granger have to remain leader of the list until fresh elections. Correct me if I'm wrong. That is the constitution that they created. That you are absolutely correct. So this person who commented in the section, and I want to highlight it, but I don't want to bring up the person's name. Uh, I can still bring it up because everybody's seeing it anyhow. It's from what I understand, Gavin, the person's responding to me as the two leaders of the party. Granger is the leader, and Ramjatan is the deputy leader of the lists. But I think, according to the constitution governing the elections, Mr. Granger have to remain leader of the list until fresh elections. So correct me if I'm wrong. You're not wrong. You are not. You're absolutely correct. But here, what's the problem? None out of the three persons, Granger, Ramjatan, or Harmon, is the leader of the PNC. That is the problem. So don't tell me that you're trying to rectify the problem because you have to remain there until fresh elections. You don't. They got something named resignation. All you got to do is give in your resignation. Give up the position. You don't have to remain there. You can't live forever. So how can you remain there? That is the constitution that they created. What they never expect to happen happened. A new leader of the party. That is what happened. That's what causes whole confusion. You see, if they never had an election, he would have still been the leader of the list. He would have still been the leader of the party. Mr. Harmon still has to represent him because he would have delegated some of his duties to Mr. Harmon of being the opposition leader. So you understand this cocoa price. So here what happened. The rice going first. Then you had four pieces of meat. You had the chicken foot, the chicken, the beef. But the cow heel went one side. So they had a competition of which one of the beef or which one of the pieces of meat is specified enough more than all of them to be in the cocoa price and to be the head of the cocoa price. So the chicken foot, the chicken, and the beef combined themselves together to to make sure that they're applicable enough to be in the cocoa price. So they contested. All three of them lost. The chicken foot, the chicken, and the beef. Because the cow heel win. Y'all get the drift? So now this man became the leader for the party, caused the whole confusion. But the constitution is not a confusion. The constitution is plainly written. The confusion is the people them who sits upon the constitution. This the confusion. That is the confusion. It's the people who sits upon the constitution. The constitution clearly said the leader of the party with the most candidates or electoral seats, whichever one you want, twist it, turn it, push it around. The leader of the party with the most candidates, you understand, becomes the leader or the chairperson of the lists and candidates of the combined parties. That means the combined parties that makes up the a Partnership for National Unity and the AFC one side. Who becomes either the presidential candidate or the opposition leader after an election. This all that's happened. They created that constitution and it was simply admitted. You know, the simplicity of the constitution, it tells you who's the man in charge. That's all. No, Granger is not the leader. Harman is not the leader. Ramjitan is not the leader. Who is the leader? Not nothing. A very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome to the GMS Live Voice of Democracy and the GMS Live Radio Guyana. Go ahead.
Thank you. Your description or your way of trying to describe the situation is making me grin a little because you mentioning the chicken foot and the cow heel and whatever. Anyhow, it's funny. I want to commend the last brother that spoke. He made it sound quite precise, and he put everything in a nutshell. Now, same question I had yesterday for you. Um, Now, the leader of the list or the leader who will make the decisions, right? And that leader, according to what my understanding is, according to what their constitution, it's not the constitution or the electoral constitution.
No.
Their constitution says the leader is Mr. Granger.
Of course.
Right? That's for no, and it's a little bit confusing because which party does that leader belongs to? Is it the PNCR or the AFC?
He doesn't belong to no party. The party who he was leader of, that party elected a new leader, which is the PNC. So he can't represent the PNC.
All right, hold 1 second. You're saying the PNC.
Right.
Is it the PNCR?
Yes,
or
the PNCR.
All right, good. So he's no longer.
He's no longer the leader of that party.
Right. No, that PNCR has a constitution.
Right.
Correct. Good. And their constitution said at that time, or does it change that when there is an election, the leader changes? Because I can't understand why a leader, if it has a constitution, is that leader a leader for life? No matter if you have an election, it cannot be removed.
Oh my gosh. Well, now they're telling me that according to the agreement of Tojika, that he has to remain leader until fresh elections. But how can you remain the leader of the list when you're not a leader of a party? You get my point?
Okay, so maybe that's the constitutional aspect of it when dealing with the general and regional elections. That's maybe that's law.
Maybe no, but I'm saying to you, my friend, I said to the person last night, suppose now this guy turn up there. He just suddenly crop out tomorrow morning. Who now becomes the new leader of the party? The new leader of the list?
Well, constitutional, if I understand it clearly from other program last night, that would be Ramjitan.
But here now, the constitution that they have, the constitution that they have says the leader of the list must be the leader of a party with the most candidates. So how can Ramjitan become the new leader?
Well, on a technicality, if the party
no, sweetheart, there's no technicality with that. How can you lead me when I'm a majority of you?
Okay.
You understand what I mean?
Anyhow, that's what I'm saying, because it's two different things we're dealing with. We're dealing with the constitution of the party, and we're dealing with the law.
Of course.
As it to electoral process, regional, general and regional electoral process law.
All right, hold on.
I think that's
Wait.
mm,
When a party submits its lists of candidates, they submit
yes,
rules and understandings from the party to GCOM. To say
right,
to GCOM, in case of anything occurs, this is what will happen. GCOM just only got to follow it.
right.
You understand?
G- G-
So that's
right.
why I'm
So
saying a resignation, you understand, is profitable. All he has to do is resign and tell
right,
all the lists of parties that is on the APN. You will look, Mr. Aubrey Norton will be replacing me because he's now the new leader of the party, which will be the
right,
leader of the
right,
lists. It's simple.
right. Well,
Now imagine, hold on, wait, imagine I got to beg you now because I become the leader of the party. I got to beg you for swear me and so I can become opposition leader. I mean,
there probably there is some technicality somewhere that we're not getting. And anyway, Gavin, Mike, I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead, right away.
On 2020, is either 2015, wasn't Mr. Norton in Parliament before? Was he ever in Parliament?
I believe so. I never paid attention to it, you know.
All right.
I never paid attention.
Taken.
I can't be able to tell you that. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I never really paid attention to it.
From what I understand, when the party had this collaboration or coalition, from what I understand with their constitution, as long as a parliamentarian or as long as a parliamentarian serves, being seated in parliament on the next elections, according to what I understand, they cannot be seated again. If somebody can clear that up, because that's what I heard. I'm not sure. I heard it when they first, I guess, when they had this collaboration of the coalition. Please clear that up if somebody can. Clear that up, because that's what I understand their constitution said. And that's why a lot of the previous parliamentarians were not seated, because according to what the constitution says for their party, if you had one sitting, you're not allowed to be seated again. I'm not sure, I can be wrong, but that's what my understanding was at the beginning. One last point.
Go ahead.
Now, we have to be careful in Guyana, where we're putting a lot of pressure on Mr. Norton, and Mr. Norton will, be this positive guy and do stuff. I can assure you that right now, the position that we're in, Guyana is in, there would not be, nobody will have no boots on the ground, no matter what, because we will lose everything. Mr. Norton knows that. The PPP knows that. The Mrs. Ambassador, I don't concern about the rest. I'm concerned about her, because she's the one that is putting her hands in Guyana's politics. There will not be no major protests, because they will pull everything out of Guyana. Venezuela will create havoc in Guyana. No, there's nobody there who is prepared to have protests in Guyana. They wouldn't do it, because they know the foreigners will leave, and they know that. So please don't be in this narcissistic attitude. It wouldn't happen. It would never happen. Nobody would. Don't be fooled. That's not going to happen. All those investments will leave, and they know that. So please be careful That's not going to happen. It's too much. Guyana has a lot to lose. A lot.
Well,
A lot.
I wanna be able to respond to you. If you decide to be a politician and run for
Yeah.
office to lead your people, your country,
Mm.
you got to be able to stand up to some pressure.
You got to stand to pressure, but you
You
got to
got
be
to hold
realistic.
on. Wait, just allow me.
Yes.
If you're saying it's right, well, I do not want to live in an oppressive state because if this that they're calling good life, which is oppression, well, I wouldn't like to see the bad life because this we're going through right now. It is oppression because how can you award a village 100 million US dollars and left out the neighboring village like Friendship, like Buxton?
Mm.
You understand? Like like like
Yeah,
like
don't you?
Pleasance.
Yeah.
How can you and these villages got black people living in it? It is just because we look
Yeah.
black.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
deserve
But
these kind of things. And
don't you know they know that?
it is an
Don't
oppressive
you know they know that?
situation.
Yeah,
And then
they
we
know
got
that.
we matty black people who are elected to these positions treated we more black, like more than slaves.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't
And they
Gavin,
expect us
they're well aware of it.
and they expect
They're
us to
all
join the
well
line
aware of it.
and be very good behaving citizens and don't retaliate because slaves don't do that. Well, I can't be nobody's slave.
Yeah. Gavin, take an example of what's going on in Ukraine. Okay?
Ukraine is the
The
Caucasians fighting among themselves
yeah,
for
look,
world power and
okay,
dominance.
okay, yes. But look the atrocities that are being done to them. And nobody can do anything.
Of course,
They're
nobody can
going
do
to
nothing. Who going to pick
nobody
up?
can do anything.
Who going to pick up arms against Russia?
Nobody can do anything. They can talk. They
Russia
can
got
do
over
nothing.
Russia got over 15,000 more nuclear warheads than any other country on the face of this earth.
They
They
can't do
can
anything.
destroy this
But
earth 10 times over. So we're going to
the
fight with
reason
them.
why I'm saying that, right? The reason why I'm saying that, this is worldwide visual atrocities being done on humans. They're not dogs. They're not animals. They're humans, and nobody dare go there and do anything. Cannot do anything. We can talk. You think, put this, be here, be on earth. You think them just taking $100 million or $600 million and giving an ethnic group or trying to separate a particular group from the other, it's going to move mountains? It will. It wouldn't. You know who will make it happen? Who have to do something about it? The citizens of the land.
But
Nobody else.
I want to thank you very much for calling. I appreciate
Thank you,
that
Gavin.
you call in and give your time and your turn to speak, and I'll be able to follow up some more on what you asked. Okay?
Thank you, my brother.
Okay,
Have
yes.
a good night.
You too. Stay safe and be careful. Yes. So at least I can take two more calls. I mean, I like the show to be like this. I don't want to be the dominant one. I want you to express yourself. Let me know what's on your mind. You understand? That's what I want you to do. Call in and let me know what's on your mind. Hold on. A very pleasant good night to you. Thank you very much for calling the GMS Live, Voice of Democracy, and the GMS Live Radio Guyana. Go ahead.
Gavin Matthews, and good night to the audience.
Yes,
Citizens
good
of
night.
Guyana, one love, one love. Do not give up. And it's important that all of us be a part of this conversation and not shy away from truth. Most important, let us unite together and speak truth to power. I would not want into the legal framework of this conversation since I'm not qualified to speak in that parameter.
No, sir,
But
you are qualified to speak. You are.
no. I didn't get the certification, so I placed myself in an unqualified setting to speak accurately in the legal framework. But as a citizen of Guyana, you understand, it is duty bound for me not only to encourage my brother, but to speak truth to power when it comes to this madness that is unfolding. First, let us examine what exactly unfolded. And you would have said a whole lot tonight. So I don't want to recap it. But at the end of the day, people, small minded people, have problems with the current leadership of the PNCR. Even some within the PNCR party. You understand? Some of these same folks are controlled by the wicked installed regime PPP. You understand? And so what we are seeing is that, as old people would say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And here you're seeing a man who's over 70, no limits to him, but knows the right thing and should have set example and go home with his grandchildren and relax. You have done 99% good things, but the one bad thing you did was to give up. He placed us in this setting. Today, he has never apologized to the citizens of Guyana. Two, he has never come out to give an explanation, but rather continuing to stymie the process with this whole megalomania attitude. And I am speaking directly to Mr. David Granger. What he is doing is wicked. It's an abomination to the people of Guyana. All he needs to do is resign, step down, walk away. You had your time. The people elected you. He was one of the leaders who almost had 80% of the country behind him. And guess what? Because of his inability to control what he would have handpicked and put together, and they abuse the system and place us in this quagmire. Now he's failed. Now he starts opening the light and this and that and trying to slow the process. It is wrong. You don't have to like me after speaking now, but it is wrong. It is unacceptable. Do the honorable thing and step away. Nobody has to beg you for anything because we all will die someday, twist or turn it, and you still have to go on. But the bottom line is that do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And what we are seeing is the mean, distasteful behavior coming out from Mr. Granger. You understand? And he tried in so many crooked ways to slow the process. But lo and behold, this train is a moving train. You either join the bandwagon and be on it because it speaks to inclusivity. And what is important at this time is for people to really join the conversation and truly understand what is unfolding around them so that they too would be in a position to make informed decisions. And that is my 2 cents I would like to put in this forum and to the audience, that we all know and Granger knows that he needs to do the honorable thing and resign. He does not have a party. He is now a mere member. A mere member who should be disciplined when that time comes for his selfish action. How can we put country first, party first, second or what, and put self last, but we have it the other way around? Same as Harmon. I'm a politician. man. You understand? I'm a lawyer. But when you twist it around, that's what he said. First, he's a businessman. Second, he's a lawyer. And third, a politician. So they got their system mixed up. And what we're seeing is a continuation of because they cannot come to grips. They cannot come to grips with the fact that they were dropped licks like peas in the past Congress. And so reality is only a matter of time. Facts will always remain facts. And so I'm calling on the people of Guyana to unite. Go out there and get registered. Those of you who need to be registered and prepare for that moment to come. Because at the end of the day, whether he likes it or not, he has to go. One love, and thank you very much for having me with this little insight to the people of Guyana. Guyanese, do not give up. Despite of where we are, let us stand together and work together for the good of Guyana. We will overcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And enjoy your night. Stay safe and be careful. You know what I love about the last caller? It was on point. You either get on the train or get run over by it. Simple. Here, tonight will be the last time I think I will stress on this topic because we got far lots more important topic to discuss. Tomorrow night I will have another call-in program, and the call-in program will be based upon the Santiago Agreement, and that is to discuss the contract of the Santiago Agreement. The Santiago Agreement is which governs the Sovereign Wealth Fund Committee, and we will have a discussion on that. We will have a live call-in program. I want to make sure that information is spreaded and people get to understand what is being said and be able to converse around it. We should have that conversation. So tomorrow night will be that call-in segment for the Santiago Agreement, and it will be live. We will have that live discussion. We will try to go through the contract piece by piece. I think not the entire, but it's just the main process of the contract. So you get to know what our country is facing with. I want to say thank you very much to those who have joined me, who have called in, who have been part of the process and the program, those who have contributed to the 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 the, the situation, to solve the problem, to become a solution to the problem. I want to say thank you to all those who have called in, and to you, my listeners, home here in Guyana and abroad. Don't forget this segment comes to you with the kind compliments of Black Love. Black Love is a design that I have created, and and it's there for to be sold and products, so we can help we can contribute to the revolutionary process of the GMS Live Voice of Democracy and the GMS Live Radio Guyana. When I mean contribute, it is not also to make sure that these things happen, but in other words, to cover our bills. You understand? It's like what is out there. You don't know. Be straight up. Government shooting and gear implied by nobody. So I have to make this work so I can continue the process of having asked questions, highlight the issues, whether it be on our side or their side. But you know me, the People's Progressive Terrorist Party always there for me mind because them is terrorists friend. Them people though, I don't play with. And especially they're unconstitutional. They were never duly elected. More worse. God still locking me up all the time. So I want to say thank you very much. I want to say to you, stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask. Don't forget the little ones you take into public places. Call the number at the bottom of the screen if you're interested. It's 592-611-6575. This is Dr. Matthews saying good night and Cheerios for now.